The summer sun had already begun to sink when the boy wheeled his battered red bicycle toward the long driveway of the Whitmore estate. Its once bright paint had faded to rust, its bell barely clinked, but he pedaled as if the world's last bit of hope rode with him. Dust clung to his jeans and the thin cotton shirt that hung loose over his shoulders. His name was Marcus, 14 years old and far too young to sound as tired as he did when he whispered to himself. Maybe she'll buy it. The mansion loomed ahead, all white columns and mirrored windows reflecting the orange sky. Marcus hesitated at the gate. He had come here before, once delivering newspapers, once just to stare at the manicured gardens he could never enter. But today was different. His mother hadn't eaten in 2 days, and the landlord had already nailed a red notice on their door. The bike was the only thing of value they still owned. He pushed it through the open gate and walked up the stone path. A woman in a crisp black uniform appeared from the side entrance, carrying a basket of laundry. She was tall, her dark skin glowing in the last light of evening, her movements neat and graceful. Everyone in the neighborhood knew her, Miss Evelyn, the Whitmore's maid. People said she'd been with the family for decades, loyal, quiet, unshakable. Marcus cleared his throat. "Excuse me, ma'am." She turned, surprised to see a boy standing at the servant's door. "What are you doing here, child?" "I was hoping someone might want to buy my bike." He tried to keep his voice steady. "It still works. My mom's, she's not feeling too good and we need a little money for medicine." Evelyn studied him for a moment, her eyes softening. "It's late and this isn't the place to sell things. You should go home before the guards see you." "Please," Marcus said quickly. "I wouldn't be here if it wasn't important." Before she could answer, a sharp voice came from behind her. "Evelyn, who's that?" It was Mrs. Whitmore, dressed in white silk even though dinner was still hours away. She stepped out onto the terrace, frowning at the sight of the boy. Evelyn straightened instinctively. "Just a young man, ma'am. He's offering to sell his bicycle." Mrs. Whitmore's lips curved into a tight smile. "Selling, are we? And to whom do you think you're speaking? This isn't a pawn shop." Her eyes swept over Marcus's dusty clothes and thin arms. "Get off the property before I call security." Evelyn opened her mouth, but Marcus had already turned the bike toward the gate. "I'm sorry, ma'am," he said. His voice cracked halfway through the words. "Wait," Evelyn called after him. The boy stopped. "How much were you asking?" He hesitated. $50, Mrs. Whitmore laughed lightly. $50? For that piece of junk? Evelyn ignored her. "It's a fair price if it rides." She reached into her pocket and pulled out her own worn purse. "I'll take it." "Evelyn!" Mrs. Whitmore's voice rose, scandalized. "You don't seriously intend to waste money on that trash?" "It's my money, ma'am," Evelyn replied quietly. "I can spend it as I wish." She pressed a few bills into Marcus's trembling hand. "Now take care of your mother, you hear?" Tears welled in the boy's eyes as he nodded. "Thank you, ma'am. I'll never forget this." He gave her the bicycle and ran down the drive, clutching the bills as if they might vanish. Mrs. Whitmore turned on her maid the moment he disappeared beyond the gate. "Do you know what you've just done? Encouraged begging, that's what. People like that need discipline, not handouts." Evelyn met her employer's glare with the calm of someone who had endured too many lessons on charity. "Sometimes, ma'am, people need mercy more than lectures." Mrs. Whitmore's face hardened. "You forget your place, Evelyn. Clean up and make sure dinner is ready, and I don't want that boy near this house again." Evelyn bowed her head slightly, but inside, something in her shifted, a quiet defiance she had kept buried for years. That night, when she finished her chores, she sat by the servant's window, staring out at the dark road. The image of Marcus running with the money burned in her mind. She prayed silently that the boy's mother would survive the night. That night, Evelyn finishes her work, but guilt keeps her awake. She remembers the look on Marcus's face when he ran off with the money and decides to check on him. Early the next morning, she walks through the poorer side of town and finds the boy's apartment. One small room shared with his mother, a woman pale and weak from hunger. The medicine Evelyn bought with her own wages helps a little, and she quietly leaves extra groceries on their doorstep. Back at the mansion, Mrs. Whitmore discovers the missing money from petty cash and assumes a servant stole it. She summons the staff for questioning. Evelyn steps forward, confessing that she gave her own wages away. The mistress is furious, accusing her of lying and threatening to fire her. Before the argument can escalate, Mr. Whitmore enters, overhears everything, and demands to know the truth. Evelyn explains about the boy and his mother without a trace of apology. Mr. Whitmore dismisses everyone and drives to confirm the story himself. When he returns later that day, his expression has changed. She told the truth, he admits quietly. The boy's mother worked for one of our suppliers until we automated her job. We never even noticed. The realization humbles him. He reinstates Evelyn, doubling her pay and promising to help the family. When Mr. Whitmore reached the small apartment on the other side of town, he had to stoop to enter through the narrow doorway. The room smelled faintly of medicine and boiled rice. Marcus's mother lay on a thin mattress, her face pale but alive, and the boy sat beside her reading from a tattered book. At first, they didn't recognize the man in the tailored suit standing awkwardly in their doorway. When he introduced himself, Marcus froze. "I came to see what my company forgot," Mr. Whitmore said quietly. He looked around at the cracked walls, the broken fan, the cardboard taped over a window. "I owe you both more than an apology." He paid their rent, brought medicine, and arranged for a doctor to visit. But as he drove back to the mansion, he knew money wasn't enough. He had seen what indifference could build, and what one act of kindness could undo. At home, he gathered his staff and his wife. "We've been running this house and our business like a fortress," he said. "From now on, it will be a foundation." He announced a new policy: living wages, health coverage, education support for every worker and their family. Mrs. Whitmore protested at first, but when she saw the quiet pride on Evelyn's face, she said nothing more. Within months, the Whitmore Foundation began transforming forgotten corners of the city. Evelyn became its heart, organizing food drives, training new employees, and visiting families like Marcus's every week. For the first time, her work wasn't invisible. The same hands that once scrubbed floors now held ledgers and signed checks that carried hope. Marcus's mother recovered, steady enough to take a position at the new community office. Marcus returned to school, his old bicycle now shining with fresh paint and purpose. When the first community center opened, a local newspaper ran a photo of the event. A smiling boy with his mother, Mr. Whitmore beside them, and Evelyn standing in the middle, her expression calm and strong. The caption read, "Mercy in Motion, the Whitmore Foundation opens its doors." That evening, as crowds left the ceremony, Evelyn lingered by the gate. A small envelope lay on the seat of her car. Inside was a note written in uneven handwriting. "You saved more than one life. Thank you, Marcus." She held the note close, feeling tears warm her eyes. For years she had been told that servants should stay silent, that goodness was wasted on the poor. Now she knew better. One quiet act, buying a boy's broken bicycle, had spun an entire world back toward compassion. Under the porch light, the sound of laughter drifted from the new center down the street. Evelyn looked up at the sky and whispered, "Thank you," not to anyone in particular, but to the simple mercy that had carried her this far. And somewhere beyond the gates, the faint ring of a bicycle bell echoed through the night, as if the world itself was saying Amen.